Alright, and we are here. We are back with more Sunkenland. So, we're here at the power plant to see what's down here. It looks pretty deep and it looks pretty big. But at the same time... Alright, so, for today's ramble and rant, parents, you need to teach your kids how to socialize. No, really, you kind of need to teach your kids how to socialize because there's a huge problem today. And it's not just, you know, it's so bad. I understand that sometimes you have a shy kid and, you know, they just don't know what to say or what to do. Is there anything in this? Probably not. And, you know, that's fine. You know, some kids, they're just shy. Oh God. Oh. I am receiving radiation. Oh. Oh. So anyway, what I was trying to say is, some kids, they just don't know what to say. You kind of need to give them a little bit of a push in the right direction. And well, you know, it's a really big problem these days. Because, you know, they could grow up socially inept and not know how to talk to people. What is all that roaring? Sheesh. I might have to turn that down. So anyway... Okay, yeah, hang on. There. God, it's loud as hell. Anyway, so your kid is probably going to grow up socially inept. For boys, this could be different. Wildly different. Now, some parents, they say something dumb like, you know, well, at least my kid didn't grow up a drug addict. Well, I feel like these days, that's just not a viable excuse anymore. Like, your son can grow up to be something so much worse now. And one of those things is basically just being some e-girl's bitch. Yeah. You never thought about that, did you? No, you probably did. You probably thought... Whoa, what's happening to my frame rate? Excuse me? So, you probably thought, you know, well, at least my kid didn't grow up a drug addict. No. Hello? Okay, frame rate dropped there again. Oh, cargo container. But it's really just... Ooh. Pump type iron receiver. Bandana mouth olive. Take this, take this, take this, and take this. But it really comes down to, you know, he could just become something so much more worse. And really, that's just kind of not really so much a viable solution anymore. So much as it is just like, it's just, you know, you're kind of accepting, okay, well, at least my kid didn't become a drug addict. But that is in its entirety where it's just like, that's just not the most viable excuse anymore. Because your kid can become so much more something worse. Like, he's not going to know how to talk to girls when he grows up. So what do you expect him to do? Just know how? Or, you know, have all these women come falling into his lap? No, that's not going to happen. You know, that is not going to happen. Especially when he doesn't know how to talk to them. Or if he doesn't even know what to do with them. And for girls, it could become so much worse. Because when you think about it, you know, for girls, what's the worst that can happen to her? That she gets pregnant? Well, yeah, that's why you teach her how to fight back. Or, you know, she kind of needs to have this guy experience so she can identify clowns from non-clowns. You know? And it really comes down to a point of, well, if your kid, like, if your daughter doesn't know, you know, these clowns from non-clowns, then what do you expect her to do? Just know the difference? No, she's probably not gonna. So let me tell you something. I used to know these two women, right? But here's the thing. Due to lack of guy experience, they didn't know what was okay and what's not. Needless to say, both of them were getting abused in one of their first relationships ever. And neither one of them did not know that that's not okay. That it is not okay to be abused. And they didn't know that. So, of course, they were just getting abused. And, you know, I'm sorry if it's happening. But, you know, these are things that your daughter needs to be aware of. Otherwise, it becomes a problem. And it will become a problem later because she was lacking guy experience or, knowledge of what is and isn't acceptable. And if you just basically shelter her for the rest of her life, what are you going to do when you're gone? What is she going to do when you're gone? You can't keep her around forever, just as she can't keep you around forever. But also, your son, like, say he doesn't know what, like, look at Twitch. Just look at Twitch. Guaranteed you're not going to be able to go one day without seeing on the front page some e-girl basically just, well, look at what Twitch has done. This is just basically the marketing of and just preying upon the socially inept and those who just basically have these wallets, but they basically have no win. And then you look at it and it's like, well, what do we do now? Just keep these guys locked up forever? Ooh, that'll work, I'm sure. It's just kind of like a form of population control. Do you really want, go away. Do you really want the family bloodline to end there? Do you really want the family bloodline to end there? Just because you didn't give your son a good kick in the ass and basically a little boot to just basically shove him into the right direction and teach him how to talk to girls? Is that what you want? I don't think so. And basically, it really will come down to a point of, he's not going to know what to do. So, it works in more than just that method, really. It really does. When you think about it. Let's go ahead and split that into it. Two. And basically, your son could become so much... Well, sure, he's not a drug addict, but there are things that are just as equally bad now. And that being one of them. Where he's just constantly spending all his time on Twitch, giving all these e-girls, all his money, just so they'll say his name. Just to say his name. And it really is a problem. In more than one way. And the worst thing that your daughter could do is become an e-girl as well. And that's all because she was lacking in guy experience. She didn't know how to talk to guys, but now she thinks that, well, I mean, actually, no. I think with enough of the guy experience, you can basically just go ahead and say something like, well, guys will spoil me because I'm pretty. And yeah, that's the kind of thing that'll happen. But, yeah, it really is a problem now. And, I mean, just look at it. And, of course, the worst thing that your son can do is become that now. Forget being a drug addict. Becoming that is just as bad, if not even worse. And now, it's really kind of a problem. But also, maybe your kid will actually find the one at such a young age. Now, if a lot of people are going to be something like, at such a young age, oh, I doubt it. The chances are very slim. Well, they're slim, but they're not zero. I'm just saying, it's slim, but not zero. So, another thing is, ooh, is that a building I can go into? Ooh. What's down here? But also, that's exactly how they get away with it, because these guys are socially inept and don't have any girl experience, so they don't know what kind of woman or what kind of girl is even worth going after, and which one is just like, yeah, okay, get the hell out of here. You're a horrible person. And yes, before you say it, yes, women can be terrible people. Horrible monsters of just... Okay. Can I just clip through that? I can! Alright. But anyway, yeah, she can just become this horrible monster of a person, and he could just fall completely victim to that. And without any proper girl experience, he's not gonna know. And, well, basically, it's really also a form of natural selection needs to take its place. And, well, do you really want your son to be naturally selected out of the human gene pool? Because let's be real here. Ladies, you have the choice and the capability to choose who gets to stay in the gene pool and who doesn't. That's right. You have that full capability. Because last I checked, guys can't give birth. Yeah. we cannot give birth. So you have the full choice and capability to choose who can actually be within the human gene pool and who can't be. So if you're just basically, but these guys who are clowns have this full capability, like years of experience of capability. Ooh, give me that. Of being able to blindside these women. I think I'm going to need to use one of those. They have that full capability of blindsiding women because they're just basically, they have these years of experience of doing it. So really, it comes down to a point of, well, how is she going to be able to identify them if she's never been around them? Because you basically just sheltered her or told her, no, you can't have any guy experience. None. None whatsoever. Not my girl. You can do that when you're older. But see, if she doesn't have the experience when she is older, she's probably just going to end up, with some dude that doesn't really... That's not really white. She's going to end up with some guy that just doesn't know, well, basically just some clown. Ooh, give me that. Give me that. I mean, I do need a red carpet here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, game. See, even the game is right now is just rolling out a red carpet for me. Like, damn, Rabbit, you're right. Have this. But it also is another problem. Because without basically the form of just knowing what to do, your kid could just basically be taken advantage of by anyone and everyone who basically knows what to do. So basically it comes down to a point of, do I really, really want to shelter my kid? Or do I want to give him a little boot right up there, and teach my kid and tell my kid, you're going to socialize with other kids, and you're going to either love it or hate it. And if your kid doesn't like socializing with other kids, well, would you rather that your kid learn, well, basically with experience? Or would you rather have learned and waited until basically your daughter probably ends up pregnant with some clown? Yeah. There you go. So it really comes down to a point of, well, she can choose who gets to stay, who doesn't. But it also works in several different forms as well, because now your kid is going to be able to tell who's really worth keeping around and who's not. Like, who's an actual friend and who isn't. Whereas some people will basically be able to do something like take advantage of, like, your kindness or something like that. And all because you didn't want to teach your kid the differences between who is right and who is wrong. So, yeah. So maybe your kid is going to cry a little, like, okay, well, this person was mean to me. Okay. But see, here's the thing. Teach your daughters how to fight back. Teach your daughters how to fight. No, it's not, a bad thing. Because some boys, well, they come up from some really terrible, just some really terrible upbringings. Like, he's taught girls are just objects. So now he's going to go around treating women as objects and girls as objects for the rest of his life. And that's the kind of guy, like, I'm pretty sure you want that kind of guy out of the human gene pool. So basically just make sure he can't repopulate any further. But, whatever they're into as adults, well, I guess they're into as adults. You do you when you're an adult. But when it comes down to it, as you're a kid, growing up, yeah, you either respect my daughter or I'll basically kick your little balls right up into the roof of your mouth. And then, it can go from there. It doesn't matter. Teach your daughter how to fight back against these dumb boys, and then that way, she, go for where it hurts. I would fully support it. Like, teach her how to fight back, but also there are times in which, you kind of don't want to jump the gun here. Don't just do that. Otherwise, that's kind of bad. And that may end up in a pretty bad situation. There are some situations in which, you kind of don't want to end up in, for one, jail. But, again, drug addicts aren't even the worst thing that she could become, or he could become. Now, it's like you could become a kingpin. Or you can get involved with, like, a drug gang, or a gang for that matter, and end up dead. And then, like, you just end up in just some obituary. And then it's like, well, yeah, that's my kid right there. Well, great. Here you go. Here's your kid. Dead. Well, what do I do? I don't know. It's your problem now. You just raise some kid to just die at a gang fight or something. And these are things that can happen. It's not just, some drama thing that can happen. Like, I'm gonna be honest here. Police officers, they don't care about the ghettos. They just don't care. They actually will just kind of ignore it. Like, if it's in the ghetto, they won't care. They legitimately won't care. They'll just do something like, well, just kind of sweep it under the rug. Like, okay, well, that's just another gang fight. We'll show it when we show up. But until then, yeah. And that could be your kid right there who died because of it. Let's see. There's nothing down here. Let's go ahead and use one of those. But there's just another problem. Is just if your kid doesn't know who is worth keeping around and who isn't, well then, how are they going to know when they're adults? Or older, for that matter. So maybe your kid has a relationship and gets hurt. Well, you kind of need to have your kid desensitized towards, it's the end of my life. I'll never find love again. That kind of jazz. Oh no, you poor thing. Oh, I'm here for you. Besides, that's also some parenting and some bonding between you as a parent and your kid. Being there for your kid when they're hurt. Sure, it's going to hurt a little, but then they get desensitized. Like, the first cut's always going to be the deepest, right? And it's always going to hurt the most. But then later, it doesn't hurt as bad. Because you know what? It just simply doesn't hurt as bad anymore. Because they've already been through something like that. And it's like, yeah, well, it doesn't hurt as bad, so really. I don't think I've been in here. Yeah, I obviously have not been in here before. Wait. Gimme. Alloy stock? I already learned that. Ooh. Use that. Take that. SMG? I want that. Drop this. Well, actually, I could take the wood, because I kind of need wood. I kind of... I'll take that. Oh. Well... And I'll leave the rest of it. But yeah, your kid is just going to get desensitized towards all that pain, and to the point it may not even hurt anymore. And, your kid is just going to learn, well, I guess if you don't want me, then screw off. Or basically, okay, you did this, well then, I guess you're just not the perfect one. Go away. Screw off. Do not want. You're a terrible person. Get out of my life. Rather than doing something like, oh, I don't know, begging for someone back. Ugh, yeah, don't do that. Never do that. That is a mistake and a half right there. Because, first off, you are better than that. And second, you'll find another person. And guys, just look at all these socially inept guys who are basically just, throwing all their money to these e-girls. Like, look how undesirable they are. And without the girl experience, now I'm going to say this. Most women, as far as I've seen and experienced, they like a guy who's dominant. Now, do you think those guys who are throwing their money at all these e-girls are dominant? No, they're bottoms as hell. And they're basically, it's a gross kind of bottom. Not a good kind either. One that, it's a bad kind, basically. And they're preying upon it very terribly. They are terribly preying upon it, and it's being allowed. And your son could become that. And that's basically it. But also, it also doubles as a form of just like teaching your son what to do, but also at the same time, like, how is he going to know what to do? But also at the same time, like, you need to teach your son a lot of things. And that's one of them. Basically, he needs to learn how to treat women, especially properly, if he wants a real woman. But also, at the same time, he needs to know what women are going to be taking advantage of that. Oh, well, you're Mr. Right. So, there are women out there who legitimately go up to any guy who makes a lot of money and basically just try to seduce him just to get pregnant by him and basically force him to pay childcare for, well, basically child support forever. Right up until the kid reaches 18, but you get my point. Or basically, you know, okay, well, you're an honorable type of guy, so if I get pregnant by you, you'll have to marry me because you're that kind of guy. You're honorable. But then she turns out to be the absolute worst kind of woman that you could ever do that with, and she will take full advantage of that. Yeah, there are women like that. There are. I really wish there weren't, but there are, because humans are just absolutely disgusting species. And, well, it's not just guys, and it certainly isn't just women. It's both. So really, you gotta teach your kids how to socialize and actually talk to each other. Otherwise, your kid could end up as in just so many just terrible things, to the point where, again, being a drug addict, well, that's just not the viable answer or solution anymore. At least it's not a drug addict. No. Your kid can be something so much worse in today's world. Your kid can be something so much worse, if not just as bad or close to it. Or, you know what, she could end up in a relationship with some guy who basically got her pregnant and basically now holds that over her for the rest of her life. And it's so bad. It is so bad. Well, ooh, what's this? Huh. Weird. And, well, that's just part of it. And if your kid has no social experience, you know for damn sure people are going to take full advantage of those who don't know, and basically, but if your kid knows, yeah, you can't take advantage of this one. Not today. Not today, sir. Not today. Or ma'am. Not today. Not this one. And you never will. Because I know the kind of person you are. I know the kind of person you can be. And I know what kind of person you are, well, in general. And you will not take full advantage of me. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. So, yeah. That would be today's rant and ramble. Parents, teach your kids to socialize. Maybe they get hurt a little. Maybe they don't. But would you rather that your kid didn't know what to do? Or would you rather that your kid, you know, maybe your kid gets hurt a little bit? Is that a vault? Gimme! Mine. Mine. Or would you rather that your kid just doesn't know what to do with when it comes down to anyone? Ooh. Mine. So yeah, that would be today's rant and ramble. Teach your kids how to socialize so that they become, well, smarter adults. Maybe they get some friends along the way. Maybe they don't. Some lifelong friends, you know? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. But that would be it for today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time. But parents, you might want to take that advice to heart, but also understand one thing. Results may vary. Some kids grow up the same, some kids don't. I don't know. I don't know. Take care. Bye.